You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves.
My Valentine's Day book recommendations. On Valentine's Day, I will probably be spending my time reading something from my bookshelf over there. So I thought it would be kind of cool to share some book recommendations with you guys. But I do have some forewarnings about the contents of the books and everything. So these books are from a lot of different genres, I would say. I think the genre I mention most often are just contemporary romance books, but there is mythological retellings, fantasy, sci-fi, classics, all that in here. Most of these books, except for one, are based on romantic relationships. One of them I picked out as a little Galentine's pick if you want to read something about like a really solid and, I don't know, just dear to me friendship. And then in one of the books, the romance and the friends and the friendships play a big role in the story. Oh, there are books with spice in here. I will not be naming them and saying where they are, like in which books there's spice or there isn't, because I honest to God can't remember. There's also different, like varying degrees of romance. For some, it's not even achieved yet. It's pretty much just yearning, but I'm gonna get into that later. This is a really important thing that I want to say. These books are not all from my 5-star book lists. The books I love and I talk about with such a passion to friends, I probably wouldn't recommend in one of these videos, even though I love them so much and they have romance. I probably still wouldn't put them in like such a lighthearted video. Okay, so as an example, I loved All for the Game, especially the second series. I loved it a lot and I've reread it twice already. I still wouldn't put it in the video. I'm pretty sure most of these have like a minimum of 4 stars, but I think the writing in the most of these is at least at a base level good, and then, you know, you can get up there to like perfect favorite book of all time. But yeah, the base level is kind of good writing and appropriate for the video. Now that I've rambled for 5 minutes, let's get into the books. I won't be talking about them in like a specific order. For some of these, I will just put a picture because I don't own the book physically. Look, I put a bunch of hearts on my, like as jewelry. I made these actually. So you have like a cute little matchy theme going on. Yeah, and yes, it is completely dark outside. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first book I've written down, and is also one I've read recently and was very, very popular on Book Talk when it was first launched, I guess, and that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I really liked this one, and I will tell you why. Now, I also have some tabs. I think it handles the topics of body issues and insecurities really well, and how they can, you know, put you in an uncomfortable position when you think that's what someone means because you've been treated really badly before that someone says something. I'm explaining it really poorly. This is about 2 characters who are both the siblings of a newly married couple who got sick on their wedding day and can't go on their honeymoon. And so the love ensues, okay? It's obvious what's gonna happen in the book. But I think a lot of the typical romance stuff is done very, very well. Like the third act breakup, that happens in almost all romance books nowadays. It was so well done. It wasn't just a slight miscommunication. It was something that was set up from the beginning and actually made sense. And it made sense why the characters were kind of pissed at each other. It made sense why it unleashed so many different emotions from the different characters. I also liked that it placed like a little of a focus, especially in that like third act breakup sequence, on the family or like the community that helps you get out of that slump, of that life slump, and can pick you up when you're down. I thought that was so beautifully written. I think they're Spanish. They have a Spanish or like an Italian family. That's the family of the main character, the female main character. I thought it was so wholesome how they all tried to help her and made her food and everything. Oh, it was so cute. I really enjoyed it. Next, this is my Valentine's Day pick, and that would be Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. It's really hard for me not to like look at the book because obviously it's not there right now. The book is about Frances, who really loves this online podcast, and then she makes a new friend and realizes that they're the maker of the podcast, and kind of chaos and friendship and everything ensues, and teenagehood ensues. Yeah. I thought it showed the importance of solid friendships and what they can do for you and how they can better you, not like better you as in that person fixes you, but how they can change your mentality and make you realize that you can get help. I also liked that the two main characters were a girl and a boy, and the whole book was about their friendship. You don't get that. Like, there's not enough like good male and female friendship representation. Like, and I really liked Alid and Frances's friendship in this book. I made a whole video on TikTok if you want to watch that, where I explain everything I loved about the book. But I also really enjoy the sibling drama, or like getting out of an abusive household and what it can do and how it can affect different types of people. I don't know, when you think about the human condition, the way different people are affected by the same thing is such a rudimentary thought that I don't think is explored enough. I would maybe place a trigger warning on it if you don't want to read about psychological abuse. Also, there is romance in the book. It's just not the main point, like the main focus of the story. The main two characters don't get together. Also, I enjoyed the extra ace rep that Alice Oseman put into the book. Something else I really liked is the subtle, diverse cast. Frances is, I think, half Ethiopian. The next book is technically 2 books, and I did that like twice, low-key, so you're kind of getting 12 book recommendations if you think about it. The next ones are hockey romances, so listen up, all you book talk girlies who love their hockey romances. I've read so many, and the thing is, I actually want to make like a video maybe where I talk about how you can do this correctly and have it not piss me off, okay? But I think Unsteady and Unloved did quite literally almost everything right. I only have Unloved over here because Unsteady is like, I delete most of the stuff I read on here. I know, bad habit, but like I take the notes and put them into my commonplace book, and then I just delete it because I don't really need it anymore. But the thing is, then I have to point to a book that's not there in videos. Cool. Loved this like interconnected series because there is so much angst. I think I love romance books, like contemporary romance books, mostly when they also feature some type of analyzation of the human condition. In a lot of cases, like anxiety. But yeah, these 2 books, the characters are anxious as heck, and that makes it really realistic to me. A lot of them are struggling with anxiety, panic attacks, grief. For the second book, the male love interest, Freddie, was also dyslexic, had dyscalculia, and ADHD. I thought it was really nice to see that in like a popular like romance series, but I do think maybe the author could have gone more in depth. They talk a lot about accommodations at uni, and I think it would have been nice to see more of the accommodations and stuff like that. But of course, this is not a guide how to deal with ADHD in like an academic setting. They did speak about some of the accommodations that were made for Freddie. This is like tutor and tutory romance. I'm not gonna say anything that happens in this because like this has low-key no plot. Oh, actually it does, but that would be spoiling a lot. The next book, or like the next series, I guess, is Legendborn by Tracy Deonne. I love these books. There's 2 out currently, but in March the 3rd book, Oathbound, will be released. I'm very excited. I like asked for an arc and everything. I didn't get one, but I did ask for one. This is the part of the spectrum where there's no love really canon, because the series isn't finished, and this is like a really, really, really slow romance. So if you don't like fantasy, this is YA fantasy, by the way. If you don't really like fantasy, don't force yourself through 500 pages, and then the second book is like 560. Don't force yourself through it, because if you like romantasy with more of the romance, don't do it. I love the fantasy aspect and I love the magic system, and I'm gonna explain in a second why, but don't force yourself through it if you're just looking for like a fluffy romantasy. This is like actual, if this wasn't YA, I think I would call it like high fantasy. I'm not sure what the criteria is, but this is one of the most complex worlds I've read for fantasy, and the romance aspect and the yearning just makes it better. That mostly starts in the second book though, so beware. This is about Bree, who is 16 years old, so she's as old as I was. Oh, as I am. Girl, she joins a program for really smart high schoolers, and then she realizes the new school she's at has this secret society, and all this happens after her mom dies, so obviously she's still pretty hung up on that. She realizes that the secret society is like up to something and that there is one, and she tries to uncover like their secrets, and on the way she, unleashes her magical power. As you can see, it's not like it's a spoiler or anything. I really like this. I thought it was one of the most beautiful worlds, especially because it implicates real life events into the explanation for why the whole world and the magic system is built as it is, and how different people have different powers based on like historical events, which is crazy. I just love it. Please read it. It's so good. It's so good. If you want to hear me hyping it up more, watch my TikTok video on it. It's already out. I also wanted to say Legendborn is also a really good rec if you want to be focusing more on reading Black authors during American Black History Month. And the magic system is based on King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. I also didn't mention that. I really enjoy that. I thought it was the most interesting magic system, and it had me hooked. Like the whole book, it just had me hooked. Skipping from my favorite fantasy book to my favorite book in general, Sunburn is a sapphic coming of age novel. Lucy, the main character, better befriends one of her like school friends, Susanna, and they spend the whole summer together. Oh my god, This is so beautifully written, and I also enjoyed the fact that most of the characters are somewhat morally gray, and they annoy you so much while reading it, but it makes it feel so realistic, and all of the girlhood experiences, and realizing that some of your friends, it's not meant to last. Like, you'll talk to them, but when you go off to college, you will never talk to them again. And if you would, they wouldn't like you anymore. Yeah, they make a lot of mistakes, a lot. And it's very annoying. And the whole romance drags upon them becoming adult, and it's crazy. Like, girls, get your shit together. Yeah, I also wrote down girlhood representation, especially in a really small gossipy town. And it also explores the platonic relationship between Lucy, our main character, and her best friend Martin. And it shows the importance of them, and how when she was at her lowest, and I really liked the way that their friendship was portrayed in the book. Like, they were always first friends, and then the other feelings came. Like in Radio Silence, Alid never has a crush on Frances, and that makes that book so special. But in this book, Martin sets aside all of his romantic feelings for Lucy, at least for a time. Well, for the whole book, he kind of sets them as his second priority. He's always, first and foremost, Lucy's best friend. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, I'm very, very uncomfortable. I'm becoming more uncomfortable by the second. I just want this video to end. We're just at the halfway mark. Cool, this is gonna be not long at all to edit. Okay, next, we're going into an Achillean romance, which is a Achillean retelling. Boom! The Song of Achilles. Yes, I'm recommending this after probably most of the internet has read it. I don't care. It's so good. It's so good. And it's also I can't. Each time it's young teens going into older teens falling in love. I can't. Yeah, this is a retelling of the Iliad from Patroclus' point of view, and it's a beautifully tragic love story. Violent grieving is a big part of this. As Circe would say,
Would I be like Achilles, wailing over his lost lover Patroclus? I tried to picture myself running up and down the beaches, tearing at my hair, cradling some scrap of old tunic he had left behind.
I know that's not a direct quote from the Song of Achilles, but that's the whole vibe of the book, and it's so tragically beautiful. The next book I also don't have physically, and that's The First Move. Low-key forgot what this was about. And there's also different ensemble cast characters who have really struggling parental situations. It also deals with the female main character who has a physical disability. She has arthritis, and she used a wheelchair and crutches. I think she used crutches. I'm just now diving into the world of less generic things and reading more books with representation, but I really liked the representation of her having a physical disability. I didn't mention this, but this is also YA, and the main plot device that is used, or the narrative, is carried through chess, and their love for chess kind of unites them because they talk on this chess website. Guys, I really want to learn chess. All these chess narratives are driving me crazy. I love them so much. Anyway, I really enjoy this. Yeah, I really liked it. I read it really quickly. I'm not sure about the exact plots of it anymore because I read it a while ago. Also like that they fell in love with each other's brains and kind of them as people, before they found out like one of them was dealing what both of them were dealing with. Next one is also a chess narrative, and that's Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I do think I enjoyed the first move more than Check and Mate, but Check and Mate is also YA and has this chess narrative. It's just that one of the characters, I forgot their names, I don't know, the female main character, I think, was like a really good chess player, and then she had, I think one of her parents died, and then she had to take care of, or was absent, I'm not sure, and she had to take care of her siblings. You know, she grieved the life she couldn't live, but she also kind of hated chess, I think, because her dad, I think, everything is in I think quotes, okay? Read it and find out for yourself at this point. Her dad, I think, really loved chess and taught her it, and so she never wanted to play chess again, but she's in need of money, pretty sure, so she goes to a chess competition and like beats everyone, whatever, and then the male love interest is like a chess prodigy, and then, you know, love ensues. Wow, cute. Yeah, I eat the chess narratives up. Queen's Gambit, oh, don't talk to me about the Queen's Gambit. That was so great. Next one is a book I have, and that's Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. I know, like, a lot of people wouldn't consider this a romance, probably. This is a classic book, and it's the sapphic vampire predecessor to Dracula, and it's really, really short and quick to get through, and the passages are so romantic. Like, you cannot tell me that they weren't in love. The whole plot is pretty much that Carmilla, this vampire, goes to this German Schloss, okay? So it's like a castle, or like a mansion, a manor, I guess, because I don't know if the distinction is very big, but I would rather say it would be a manor. And there she meets Laura and Laura's dad. It's really interesting to see how Laura is actually freaking out during the book. Okay, girl, when I say get a room, sometimes there came a sensation as if a hand was drawn softly along my cheek and neck. Sometimes it was as if warm lips kissed me, and longer and more lovingly as they reached my throat. Vampire. I really enjoy this. This is super short. If you want to get into classics, you can also read this. Next. I don't have this book anymore, but I also annotated a lot of the things that were said in there, and then wrote them down in my notebook. And that would be This Is How You Lose the Time War. Now, this story takes place in a war through time where two sides are fighting with each other, the agency and the garden. The agency wants to have technological advancement, and the garden wants greenery and life and nature to take over. Now, blue is the best worker, the best agent in the garden, and red is the best. She is the best of the best from the agency. And I think blue is the first one to leave a letter in time for red to find, and they pretty much have conversations over the whole book. It's mostly an epistolary novel with a few explanations. Like, the plot is not carried out through the epistolary part. The romance is developed during that epistolary part, during the letters, and then during the text, the prose? Is it prose? During the sci-fi explaining, it's sci-fi explains the world and stuff with the war and everything, and where the people, you know, where red and blue find themselves and stuff like that. This was beautiful. The way that you could see in the way they addressed themselves, how much fondness they had for each other, and I don't know, the sci-fi element, it made me confused, but then in the end, it was all sunshines and rainbows. You can really see how the characters fall in love with each other. You can feel the tension and the anxiety and the love drip from each letter they send each other, and they're so attentive with each other even though they never see each other. Never. Okay? And I don't think this is a spoiler. They don't see each other while they're writing themselves like letters to one another. They don't interact in real life. They're so attentive with each other, and if you've read this book, you know what I mean as well. How can you pay so much attention that you do what was done in the end of the book? Okay, if you like this video and want more specific recommendation videos, tell me. I want to maybe make a Marauders one next. Also, I have to give you guys like a bookshelf tour. I was actually asked if I could do a bookshelf tour, which is crazy and really cool. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great Valentine's Day, and yeah, that's it. Bye.